Captain Ibrahim Traoré arrived armed at Ghana's presidential inauguration, igniting a firestorm of debate. His shocking admission about the need for protection reveals the precarious nature of African politics today. What does this say about the future of leadership and security in the region? Understanding Captain Traoré's decision. Today, we're diving deep into a story that's been making waves across Africa and beyond. Captain Ibrahim Traoré's decision to carry a firearm during a recent event in Ghana. Now, you might be wondering why a leader feels the need to arm himself at such a high-profile gathering. Well, let's break it down. When we talk about protection and preparedness, we're not just discussing personal safety, we're talking about survival in a political landscape that is anything but stable. Captain Traoré has been at the helm of Burkina Faso since leading a military coup in September 2022. Since then, he's faced immense pressure and scrutiny, not just from within his country, but also from international observers. Traoré made it clear that his decision wasn't just about bravado. He revealed that he had received credible threats to his life before attending the inauguration of Ghana's President John Mahama. These threats weren't mere whispers in the wind. They were backed by intelligence reports from both local and international sources. Thinking of being in his shoes, knowing real dangers are lurking out there. Wouldn't you want to be prepared for anything? This brings us to an important point: the perception of leadership in Africa today. When leaders like Traoré choose to carry firearms, it sends a powerful message. It says, "I'm ready for anything." But it also raises questions about the nature of political power and security in Africa. The political climate in Burkina Faso. Now take a closer look at the political climate in Burkina Faso. This country has been through a lot in recent years. Coups, insurgencies, and widespread instability have become the norm rather than the exception. Since Traoré took power, he has faced significant challenges in restoring order and confidence among citizens. Burkina Faso is currently grappling with an ongoing jihadist insurgency that has destabilized not just its borders, but also those of neighboring countries like Mali and Niger. Armed groups affiliated with Al-Qaeda and ISIS have taken advantage of weak governance and security forces, leading to rising violence and insecurity. For Traoré, this means living under constant threat, not just from external forces, but also from potential rivals within his own government. The reality is that many political leaders in Africa operate under this kind of pressure, where coups can happen overnight, and loyalty is often fleeting. In this context, carrying a firearm isn't just about personal safety, it's about asserting authority and control in an environment where trust is scarce. The political climate demands that Traoré remain vigilant and prepared for any eventuality. But how does this impact their ability to govern effectively? Does it create an atmosphere of fear rather than one of stability? These are critical questions that we need to consider as we analyze his actions. Security protocols at diplomatic events. Now let's talk about security protocols at diplomatic events, because this is where things get interesting. When heads of state attend international gatherings, it's typically the host nation's responsibility to ensure their safety. So why did Captain Traoré feel the need to arm himself? Some experts suggest the decision reflects a lack of trust in Ghanaian security measures. If you're walking into an event with credible threats hanging over your head, would you want to rely solely on someone else for your safety? Probably not. This situation raises important questions about how security is managed during high-profile events. Retired Colonel Festus Abowagi weighed in on this topic by suggesting that there may have been prior discussions between Ghanaian and Burkinabe security forces regarding Traoré's presence and security arrangements. If there was an understanding of allowing him to carry his firearm, then perhaps this incident wasn't as controversial as it seems. However, the optics of an armed leader at a formal diplomatic event cannot be ignored. It sends mixed messages about trust between nations and raises concerns about whether diplomatic norms were violated. Should leaders be able to carry firearms at such events? Or does this undermine the very principles of diplomacy? Historical context of armed leaders in Africa. Let's take a moment to explore the historical context of armed leaders in Africa, because this adds another layer of complexity to our discussion throughout history. Many African leaders have used military imagery as part of their political identity. Think about figures like Thomas Sankara, the revolutionary leader who served Burkina Faso from 1983 until his assassination in 1987. Sankara was known for his military attire and strong rhetoric against colonialism and imperialism. He became an icon for many Africans who viewed him as a champion for social justice and empowerment. His legacy continues to influence contemporary leaders like Traoré. However, while military symbolism can convey strength and authority, it can also evoke memories of authoritarianism and instability, two issues that continue to plague many African nations today. By appearing armed at an event celebrating democracy, Traoré risks sending mixed signals about his commitment to democratic values. This duality reflects broader tensions within African politics. How can leaders balance their military backgrounds with their responsibilities as democratic representatives? As more military figures rise to power across the continent amid the crisis, understanding their motivation becomes crucial for analyzing future political trajectories. The role of intelligence in political security. Next, discuss the role of intelligence in shaping political security decisions, because this is where things get real. Captain Traoré didn't just wake up one day with the idea that carrying a firearm was a good idea. His choice was heavily influenced by credible threats backed by intelligence reports. In regions like West Africa, where political instability reigns supreme, intelligence agencies play a crucial role in assessing threats against political figures. For Traoré, receiving specific warnings likely reinforced his belief that carrying a firearm was necessary during public appearances. But here's the big question: how reliable is this intelligence? Are leaders getting accurate information, or are they being manipulated by fear? And what does this say about the effectiveness of intelligence agencies across Africa? One thing is clear: traditional security measures aren't cutting it anymore. In an era where insurgent groups operate across borders using sophisticated tactics, relying solely on state-provided security may no longer be sufficient for leaders like Traoré. Considering these challenges, it becomes essential for governments to strengthen their intelligence capabilities while ensuring transparency and accountability within these agencies. Public perception of armed leadership. Captain Traoré showed up armed at such a significant event. It didn't just raise eyebrows, it sparked a whirlwind of reactions from the public and media. On the one hand, some people viewed his decision as a bold statement of strength and self-reliance. They saw it as a leader who is not afraid to take matters into his own hands, especially in an environment where threats are all too real. However, on the flip side, there were many who criticized this action. They argued that appearing armed at a democratic event undermines the very principles of democracy and diplomacy. It sends a message that perhaps leaders can't rely on established security protocols or trust their hosts to keep them safe. This mixed reaction highlights a significant tension in how we view leadership in Africa today. In many ways, Traoré's decision reflects broader anxieties about security and stability in African politics. For citizens who have experienced coups, violence, and instability firsthand, seeing their leader armed can evoke feelings of both reassurance and fear. It raises questions about whether this is a temporary measure or if it signals a more permanent shift toward militarized governance. As we navigate these complex perceptions, it's crucial to recognize that Traoré's actions are not just about him. They reflect deeper societal sentiments regarding safety, authority, and trust in institutions. Diplomatic relations between Ghana and Burkina Faso. Now let's shift our focus to the diplomatic relations between Ghana and Burkina Faso. Captain Traoré's attendance at this event came when relations between the two nations were already strained. Historically, Ghana has been seen as a stabilizing force in West Africa, while Burkina Faso has faced significant challenges related to security and governance. By appearing armed at such an important diplomatic gathering, Traoré's actions could be interpreted as a challenge to Ghanaian authority or even an assertion of independence. This raises important questions. How do countries navigate their relationships when one leader feels compelled to carry a weapon? What does this say about mutual trust between nations? Moreover, this incident could have ripple effects on future diplomatic engagements. If leaders feel they must arm themselves during official visits, it could lead to increased tensions and mistrust between nations. It might also prompt other leaders to adopt similar stances, further complicating diplomatic relations across the continent. In essence, Traoré's decision is emblematic of broader geopolitical dynamics in West Africa, where security concerns often overshadow diplomatic norms. The symbolism of military regalia. Next up is the symbolism of military regalia in Traoré's choice to appear armed. In many African contexts, military attire carries significant weight. It symbolizes power, authority, and sometimes even revolutionary ideals. By choosing to wear military garb while carrying a firearm at a formal event, Traoré is tapping into this rich symbolism. For many citizens in Burkina Faso and beyond, this could evoke memories of iconic leaders like Thomas Sankara, who famously used military imagery to promote his vision for the country during his time in power. Sankara's legacy continues to resonate with those who seek strong leadership amid chaos. However, there's another layer to consider. While military symbolism can inspire confidence among supporters, it can also alienate those who fear authoritarianism or militarization of politics. The sight of an armed leader at a democratic event can be unsettling for citizens who value peace and stability over militaristic displays. This duality raises questions about what leadership style is emerging in Africa today. Are we witnessing a resurgence of military populism? Or is this simply a reaction to the unique challenges faced by leaders like Traoré? The symbolism behind his actions will likely continue to shape public discourse around leadership styles on the continent. Comparative analysis of regional security threats. Now let's delve into a comparative analysis of regional security threats affecting Burkina Faso and its neighbors. The Sahel region has been grappling with escalating violence from jihadist groups for years now. Countries like Mali and Niger are facing similar challenges with insurgencies that threaten national stability. For Captain Traoré, these regional dynamics play a critical role in shaping his approach to governance and security. By carrying a firearm during an official event, he is signaling awareness not just of local threats, but also of broader regional instability that could spill over into Burkina Faso. This context is essential when considering how leaders respond to security challenges. In regions where state authority is weak and insurgent groups are gaining ground, leaders may feel compelled to adopt more aggressive postures, domestically and internationally. This could lead to an arms race among neighboring countries as they seek to bolster their defenses against common threats. Furthermore, as countries like Burkina Faso navigate these turbulent waters together, there may be opportunities for collaboration on security initiatives aimed at combating shared threats. However, if leaders continue to adopt militarized approaches in their public personas, it could hinder efforts for cooperative diplomacy. Future of African leadership styles. Let's explore the future of African leadership styles as influenced by Captain Traoré's actions. His decision to appear armed at an international event may signal a shift toward more militarized forms of governance on the continent, a trend that could reshape expectations around what leadership looks like in Africa moving forward. As younger leaders like Traoré rise to power amid ongoing crises, such as economic instability or security threats, they may feel pressured to adopt similar tactics to assert their authority and maintain control over their nations. This could lead to an increasing normalization of militarized leadership styles across Africa. However, there is also potential for positive change here. Leaders who prioritize personal safety while engaging with their citizens can inspire new models of governance that balance strength with accountability. The challenge will be finding ways to ensure that such approaches do not devolve into authoritarianism or undermine democratic processes. As we look ahead at the evolving landscape of African politics, it will be crucial for emerging leaders like Traoré to navigate these complexities thoughtfully, balancing their need for security with their responsibilities toward democratic governance and citizen engagement. What do you think? Was he justified in his decision, or did this cross the line? Drop your thoughts into the comments below. If you enjoy this breakdown or found it insightful, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more updates. Thanks for watching.